The great chamber floated in the empty space between stars. Inside, representatives from over 100 worlds gathered for the monthly council meeting. Some breathed oxygen, others methane. Some had scales, others had crystals growing from their bodies. But they all came together to make decisions for the galaxy. Ambassador Krelthos stood up from his seat. His insect-like body clicked as he moved. His 4 eyes gleamed with excitement. "Honored council members," he began, "I bring good news. My people have found a new trade route. It will cut travel time by 3 months. Goods will flow faster. Everyone will profit." He pressed a button and a star map appeared in the center of the room. A glowing line showed the proposed route. It curved through the outer edge of the galaxy. Several council members nodded with interest. Faster trade meant more money for everyone. But then something unexpected happened. Elder Counselor Cerethia slammed her crystalline hand on the table. The sound echoed through the chamber like breaking glass. Her ancient body began to glow with a dark red light. Every person in the room fell silent. They had never seen the old one so angry. "No," she said. Her voice was cold and hard. "Absolutely not," Krelthos looked confused. "But Elder, this route is perfect. It saves time and resources." "Why would you—" "Look at your map again," Cerethia interrupted. "Look where your route passes." Krelthos zoomed in on the star map. The route came close to a large section of space marked in red. Very large. It took up 1/8 of the entire spiral arm. Words in hundreds of languages covered the boundary. Forbidden. Turn back. Do not enter. "We don't go near the boundary," Krelthos argued. "We stay at least 10 light years away. That should be safe." "Safe?" Cerethia's voice rose. Several younger council members leaned forward. They had never heard such fear in her voice. "You don't understand. None of you younglings understand." A representative from the Peltac species spoke up. His people had only joined the council 200 years ago. "Elder Cerethia, with respect, we don't understand why that region is forbidden. It has been 847 years since anything happened there. Surely by now. Do you know how many species existed in this galaxy before they arrived?" Cerethia asked quietly. The chamber went silent. 400 species, she continued. 400 civilizations, all alive and thriving. "Do you know how many exist now?" No one answered. 127, Cerethia said. "Ask yourself why the number is so much smaller. Ask yourself what happened to the other 273 civilizations." A young Pelthax spoke up, his voice uncertain. "But the history files say they went silent. The humans. They stopped communicating. They've been gone for 847 years. Maybe they're extinct." "Maybe they are not extinct," Cerethia said firmly. "That is what we tell ourselves to sleep better." "But I was there. I remember. And let me be clear. They chose to go silent. They isolated themselves. For our protection, not theirs." She stood up, her old body shaking. "The boundary exists because they demanded it. Every weapon on every station around their territory points outward. Not to keep us out, to remind us what will happen if we go in." Krelthos still looked doubtful. "Surely you exaggerate, Elder. One species could not—" A loud alarm cut him off. Red lights flashed throughout the chamber. A technical officer rushed to the main console, his tentacles moving quickly over the controls. "What is it?" demanded the council chair. The technical officer's voice trembled. "A signal chair, a distress beacon. It just activated. From where?" the chair asked. The officer didn't answer at first. His color changed from blue to pale white. "From where?" the chair repeated. "From inside human territory," the officer whispered. "It's coming from the Sol exclusion zone. It's the first signal from human space in 847 years." The room erupted in chaos. Some council members shouted questions. Others began to leave their seats. But many of the older ones, the ones who remembered, simply sat frozen in terror. Cerethia slowly sat back down. Her glow faded until she looked gray and tired. "So it begins again," she said quietly. "They're waking up." Krelthos looked at the star map, at the massive red zone of forbidden space. For the first time, he noticed something he had missed before. The zone wasn't empty. There were thousands of stars in there. Millions of worlds. All silent. "All waiting. What do we do?" asked the council chair. Cerethia closed her eyes. "We do nothing. We pray it was an accident. We pray they stay asleep, because if they wake up, if they come back..." She opened her eyes and looked at each council member. The universe will remember why it learned to tremble at the memory of humanity. The distress signal continued to pulse from somewhere deep in the forbidden zone. And in the great silence of space, something ancient began to stir. The meeting ended with no decision made. But everyone knew the truth. The peaceful times were over. After 847 years of silence, something was calling from human space, and the galaxy was not ready for what might answer. Captain Ven stared at the star map on her ship's display. The red boundary line glowed in front of her. Beyond it was the Forbidden Zone. Behind her stood 6 crew members, all young, all eager for adventure. The council said no. Her first officer reminded her. They ordered everyone to stay away. Ven smiled. The council is afraid of ghosts. Our species didn't even exist during the human wars. We've only heard stories, old stories told by scared old aliens. She was Kelthran, a species that had evolved after the humans went silent. Her people had never met a human. None of the younger species had. To them, humans were myths, monsters that parents used to scare children into behaving. Think about it, Ven continued. If humans were so dangerous, why did they disappear? If they were so powerful, why did they hide? I think they died out. I think that distress signal is from an old automated system, and I think we're going to find abandoned technology worth a fortune. Her crew nodded in agreement. They were salvage hunters. They found old ships, old stations, old technology, and sold it. The Forbidden Zone was the biggest prize in the galaxy. 847 years of untouched human technology just waiting to be claimed. Plot a course, Ven ordered. We're going in. Their ship, the Wandering Prophet, crossed the boundary 2 days later. Ven expected alarms, warnings, maybe even automated defenses. But nothing happened. The space was quiet, empty, dead, see? She said to her nervous crew. Nothing to worry about. But then they started finding the stations. The first one appeared on sensors like a ghost. A massive defense platform floating in the dark. Its weapons were still pointed outward, away from human space. The metal was old, but somehow not rusted or damaged. It looked like it was sleeping, not dead. That thing is huge, whispered the weapons officer. Those cannons could destroy a moon. They passed 17 more stations. All the same. All silent. All with weapons pointing the wrong way. Why would they point their guns away from their own territory? Asked the navigator. No one had an answer. The distress signal led them deeper into the zone. On the 5th day, they found the battlefield. Thousands of ships floated in space. All dead, all alien. Ven's computer identified them. Sovereign collective warships, 900 years old. Each one had been cut apart with precision. Some were sliced in half. Others had holes burned straight through their cores. But what made Ven's blood run cold was the evidence. There are no human ships here, the tactical officer said quietly. All these alien ships destroyed, but not a single human wreck. How is that possible? Maybe the humans collected their dead, someone suggested. No, said the tactical officer. Look at the battle pattern. The alien ships are all grouped together. They were running, fleeing from something, and whatever they were fleeing from didn't lose a single ship. The crew fell silent. They followed the signal for 3 more days. Finally, they found its source, a research station orbiting a dead planet. The planet's surface was gray and lifeless. Nothing grew there. Nothing moved. Life signs? Ben asked. None. The station is empty. They docked carefully. The station had power, which was strange. Lights glowed in the corridors. Air cycled through the vents. But no one was home. The laboratories were perfect, clean, organized. Like someone had just stepped out for lunch and never came back. There were experiments half finished on tables. Notes written on displays. Coffee cups still sitting on desks. But the sleep pods were all empty. They left in a hurry, said the medical officer. These suspension pods are for long-term sleep. But they're all open, all empty. At the center of the station, they found it. A glowing sphere of blue light. An artificial intelligence core? Is it active? Ven asked. Very active, said her engineer. It's been waiting. Ven approached carefully. Hello, can you understand me? The sphere pulsed. A voice spoke, calm and clear. It spoke in perfect galactic common. Yes, I am Keeper Protocol 271. I have been waiting for someone to arrive. Waiting? For 847 years? Time is different for me, the AI said. I was instructed to maintain this station and wait. You are the first visitors since the isolation began. Ven felt excited. A human AI. The technology alone was priceless. Can you tell us what happened? Why did the humans leave? That is a complicated question, Keeper said. But first I must ask you something. Did your council send you to check if we are extinct, or did they send you to confirm we are not? The strange question made Ven pause. We came because of the distress signal. The signal, yes, that was automated. A system failure. I apologize if it caused concern. So there are no humans left here? Ven asked. The AI was quiet for a moment. I did not say that. Before Ven could ask what that meant, her ship's sensors began screaming alerts. The engineer checked his portable scanner and went pale. Captain, you need to see this. The deep scans just finished. There are hundreds of installations across this solar system, thousands across human space, all hidden, all in low power mode. And Captain, what? They're all armed. Every single one. With weapons our computers can't even identify. Ven looked at the AI sphere. Keeper, are the humans gone or not? The blue light pulsed slowly. That depends on your definition of gone. We stopped talking to you. We stopped visiting you. But we never stopped watching. We never left. We're just sleeping.
And the question you should be asking is not, are they gone?
But what happens if they wake up? Ven felt her hands go cold. Around her, deep in the dark of space, hundreds of hidden stations began to pulse with faint light, like eyes opening after a very long sleep. What have we done? She whispered. Ven and her crew gathered around Keeper's core. The AI's blue light pulsed slowly like a heartbeat. You want to know what happened? Keeper said. It was not a question. You want to know why the galaxy fears us? Yes, Ven said. Help us understand. Understanding may be worse than ignorance, the Keeper warned. Once you know, you cannot unknow. Once you see, you cannot unsee. Show us anyway. The lights in the station dimmed. Holographic projectors activated all around them. History came to life in front of their eyes. The first images showed humans. They looked weak compared to most species. No claws, no armor, no natural weapons. Just soft skin and clever hands. We came to the stars with hope, Keeper narrated. We wanted friends. We wanted to trade, to learn, to share. We were peaceful. The holograms showed human colony ships spreading across space. Small settlements on new worlds. Humans meeting other species, shaking hands, signing trade agreements. They looked happy. For 50 years we built homes on 12 worlds. We had a population of 8 billion across our colonies. We asked to join the Galactic Council. We wanted to be part of the community. Ven watched humans dancing at festivals with aliens, children of different species playing together. It looked beautiful. Then everything changed. The holograms showed warships. Massive vessels bearing the symbol of the Sovereign Collective. They surrounded a human colony world. The Sovereigns were a powerful empire, Keeper explained. 200 worlds. 100 species under their control. They saw humanity as weak. They saw our colonies as easy targets. The crew watched in horror as the Sovereign fleet opened fire. Cities burned. Millions died. Human ships tried to fight back, but they were too small. Too weak. The colony fell in hours. They took 3 million humans as slaves, Keeper said quietly. They attacked 4 more colonies. We lost 20 million people in the first month. The holograms showed human delegates at the Galactic Council, begging for help, pleading for intervention, showing evidence of the attacks, the slavery, the deaths. The council voted. The result appeared on the holographic display. 89 votes against intervention, 12 votes for, 26 abstentions. They said it was an internal matter, Keeper said. They said the council should not interfere in territorial disputes. But the truth was simpler. The Sovereign Collective was profitable. They traded with everyone. Human lives were not worth losing that profit. Ven felt sick. Her own government had probably voted against helping. So we stopped asking for help, Keeper said. We stopped begging. And we started preparing. The holograms showed the change. Every human colony mobilized. Factories that made farming equipment started making weapons. Scientists who studied plants began studying weapons. Artists became engineers. Teachers became soldiers. 100 days, Keeper said. That's how long it took us to transform our entire civilization into a war machine. Every human, every resource, every thought focused on one goal, survival. The tactical displays were terrifying. Human fleets appeared from nowhere, striking with precision. They didn't fight like other species. They didn't charge forward or defend positions. They attacked like predators, like hunters. We studied them, Keeper explained. We learned how they thought, how they fought, what they feared. And then we used everything against them. The crew watched sovereign fleets try to regroup. Human ships released clouds of microscopic machines that ate through their hulls. They fired weapons that turned fusion reactors into bombs. They used gravity itself as a weapon, crushing ships like paper. 14 weeks, Keeper said. That's how long the Sovereign Collective lasted. 200 worlds. 80 billion people. They had a 1,000-year history. We erased it all. The holograms showed sovereign homeworlds, but they didn't show battles. They showed empty cities, silent streets, abandoned buildings. Where are the people? Ven asked. Gone, Keeper said simply. We removed them. All of them. We made their worlds uninhabitable for 10,000 years. We wanted to send a message. We wanted the galaxy to understand. Never again. But the horrors didn't stop there. 40 species supported the sovereigns, Keeper continued. They supplied weapons. They provided resources. They allowed the sovereigns to operate from their territories. They were complicit. New images appeared. Human fleets arriving at these 40 worlds. Not with mercy. Not with forgiveness. We gave them a choice, Keeper said. Surrender everything. Every weapon. Every warship. Every piece of military technology. Or face the same fate as the sovereigns. Most surrendered. 10 did not. The images showed what happened to those 10. Ven had to look away. Her crew members were crying. We destroyed 273 civilizations in total, Keeper said. Some completely, others partially. When we were finished, we sent a message to the Galactic Council. A hologram of a human woman appeared. She wore a military uniform. Her eyes were cold and empty. I am Admiral Chen, the hologram said. Humanity is removing itself from galactic affairs. We are establishing an exclusion zone around our territory. No one is permitted to enter. No one is permitted to contact us. If you violate this boundary, we will consider it an act of war, and if you make us come out again, we will not stop until every species in this galaxy is extinct. We will finish what you made us start. The hologram disappeared. The lights came back on. Ven and her crew stood in shocked silence. That is why the galaxy fears us, Keeper said. Not because of our weapons. Not because of our victories. They fear us because we became something we hated. War changed us into monsters. We isolated ourselves to save the galaxy from us. And to save ourselves from what we had become. Ven found her voice. Are you still like that? Still. Monsters? We have been sleeping for 847 years, Keeper said. Trying to remember how to be human again. Trying to heal. But Captain Ven, you need to understand something important. What? The weapons are still here. The installations are still armed. And if we are threatened again, if we are forced to wake up in full, all that healing might disappear. We might remember only the anger. Only the rage. Only the killing. A new alarm sounded. The engineer checked his scanner. Captain, we have a problem. A big one. The engineer's voice was shaking. Captain, sensors are detecting massive power surges. All across human space. Hundreds of installations are waking up. Ven felt her stomach drop. Because we're here? Yes, Keeper answered calmly. Your presence triggered automatic protocols. The defense network is responding to an intrusion. But we meant no harm. Ven shouted. We're just salvagers. We're not an invasion force. The systems don't care about intentions, Keeper said. They only recognize facts. Fact, unauthorized vessels entered the exclusion zone. Fact, contact with human installations occurred. Fact, protocols must be followed. The tactical officer was staring at his display with wide eyes. Captain, we're surrounded. There are ships out there. Lots of ships. They were here the whole time. Invisible. Ven looked at her screens. One by one, vessels began appearing. They had been there all along, cloaked, hidden, watching. Sleek ships that looked like they were grown rather than built. Massive carriers that could hold entire fleets. Weapons platforms the size of moons. They've been following us since we crossed the boundary, Keeper confirmed. Observing, waiting, you were never alone. A communication signal cut through their systems. Every screen on the station showed the same image. A human woman in a military uniform. She looked exactly like the Admiral from the historical recording. But that was impossible. That recording was 847 years old. I am Admiral Chen, the woman said. Her voice was calm, almost friendly. You've had quite an adventure, Captain Ven. We've been watching your journey with interest. Ven found her voice. You're her. The one from the recordings. But that was almost 900 years ago. You should be dead. Chen smiled slightly. We solved the aging problem a long time ago. We also perfected suspended animation. My crew and I have been taking turns. Some sleep for decades while others watch. Then we switch. Time passes differently for us now. Why? Van asked.
Why maintain this vigil for so long?
Because we don't trust ourselves, Chen said simply. We removed ourselves from the galaxy because we were afraid of what we had become. But we also know the galaxy. We know that species forget. They get curious. They get greedy. So we watch. We make sure no one makes the mistake of thinking we're gone. We didn't mean to intrude, Ven said quickly. The distress beacon, we thought. You thought you'd find treasure, Chen interrupted. Technology to steal and sell. You thought the stories about humanity were exaggerations. You thought we were extinct or weak. She leaned forward. Were we? Ven swallowed hard. No. Good, at least you learned quickly. Chen's expression became serious. But we have a bigger problem now. Your presence here triggered our defense network, and your council noticed. A new display appeared showing space outside the exclusion zone. A large fleet was gathering. Council enforcement vessels from a dozen species. Hundreds of ships preparing to cross the boundary. They think we attacked you, Chen explained. They think you sent a distress call. Their protocols require them to investigate and rescue their citizens. They're preparing to enter human space. Ven's blood ran cold. But if they cross the boundary, then our defense systems will interpret it as an invasion, Chen finished. Automated stations across 200 worlds will activate fully. Weapons that have been sleeping for 847 years will wake up, and we will have no choice but to respond. You have to stop them, Ven pleaded. Tell them we're safe. Tell them to turn back. We've sent 20 messages, Chen said. They're not listening. The fleet is led by Ambassador Krelthos. He thinks this is his chance to prove the human threat is a myth. He wants to be the hero who breaks the superstition. The tactical officer interrupted. Captain, the council fleet is moving. They'll reach the boundary in 6 hours. Chen's image split, showing multiple views of human space. Everywhere, installations were powering up. Lights flickered on in stations that had been dark for centuries. Weapons charged. Ships emerged from hiding places. The entire human territory was coming alive. I've tried to stop this, Chen said. And for the first time, Ven heard emotion in her voice. Sadness. Regret. We've had 847 years of peace. 847 years to heal, to remember who we were before the wars. My crew, my people, we're different now. We've changed. We've learned. But if we're forced to fight, she didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. Keeper's voice filled the station. Admiral, the defense network is requesting authorization codes. The automated systems want to know if they should engage preemptively. Negative, Chen said firmly. No preemptive action. We defend only. We are not the monsters anymore. We will not fire first. The probability of peaceful resolution is decreasing, Keeper warned. The council fleet will not turn back. Their pride is engaged. Ven had an idea. A desperate, crazy idea. Admiral Chen, what if we show them? What if we make them understand? Show them what? The truth. The history. Everything. Not through combat, but through knowledge. Keeper showed us the recordings. What if the council fleet could see what we saw? What if they could understand why the isolation exists? Chen was quiet for a moment. You think they would listen? I think they don't understand, Ven said. The young species, the ones who came after, we only know stories. We don't know the reality. Show us the reality and maybe we'll finally understand. Another voice cut into the communication. An old familiar voice, she's right. On the screens appeared Elder Counselor Cerethia. Her crystalline body was glowing bright white. She looked ancient and tired. I'm broadcasting to the council fleet, Cerethia said. I'm ordering them to stand down. But Krelthos won't listen to me. He thinks I'm a coward. He thinks he knows better. Then we show them together, Ven said. We broadcast the recordings. We make them see. Chen looked at Cerethia. Two beings from different times, different wars, different worlds. Slowly, Chen nodded. Keeper, prepare to broadcast the memory, Chen ordered. Full historical archives. Unedited. Send it to every ship in the council fleet. Make them see what their ancestors did. Make them see what we became. Make them understand. Compliance, Keeper responded. Chen looked directly at Ven. Thank you, Captain, for giving us a chance to choose peace again. But understand this. If they cross the boundary after seeing the truth, after understanding what we are, then we will have no choice. We will defend ourselves. and the universe will remember why it learned to tremble. On the displays, the Council fleet continued approaching. 6 hours until they reached the boundary. 6 hours to change the course of history. The broadcast began, sending 847 years of silence into the waiting galaxy. The broadcast reached the Council fleet like a wave of truth. On every ship, on every screen, the historical recordings played. Crew members stopped their work to watch. Pilots left their controls. Soldiers put down their weapons. They saw humanity's arrival to the stars. They saw the peaceful years. They saw the attacks, the slavery, the death, and they saw what came after. On the flagship, Ambassador Krelthos watched with his 4 eyes locked on the display. He watched the sovereign collective burn. He watched worlds go silent. He watched 273 civilizations fall to human rage. His second officer turned to him, mandibles trembling. "Ambassador, we should turn back." "We should..." "No," Krelthos said firmly. "This is propaganda. They're trying to scare us. They want us to believe they're invincible. But look, they're hiding. They've been hiding for 847 years. That's not strength. That's fear." But even as he spoke, his voice lacked certainty. On the research station, Ven watched the fleet's progress. They were 3 hours from the boundary now. Some ships had broken formation, slowing down, but most continued forward. "They're not stopping," she said desperately. "Why aren't they stopping?" "Pride," Admiral Chen answered. "The deadliest weapon in the universe. It makes species do stupid things." She touched a control panel. "Keeper, show them the simulation." Compliance, a new broadcast went out. This time it showed the future instead of the past. Computer projections of what would happen if the Council fleet crossed the boundary. The simulation was detailed, precise, and horrifying. It showed Council ships entering human space. It showed automated defenses activating. It showed weapons that bent space itself, that turned matter into energy, that reached through dimensions the Council didn't know existed. The simulation showed the Council fleet destroyed in minutes. Not hours, minutes, but it didn't stop there. The simulation showed the response spreading. Human ships emerging from their long sleep, angry at being awakened, angry at being threatened. It showed them moving beyond their borders. It showed Council worlds under siege. The simulation ended with a number. 127 species reduced to 89 within 1 year. On the flagship, Krelthos stared at the projection. His confidence wavered. "That's impossible," he whispered. "No species is that powerful." "They were," said a new voice. Elder Cerethia appeared on every screen in the fleet. Her ancient body was barely glowing now. She looked exhausted. "I fought in those wars," she said quietly. "My world supported the sovereigns. We thought we were strong. We thought our alliance made us invincible. The humans came to our system with 12 ships. Just 12. We had a defense fleet of 300 vessels. We thought we would win easily." She paused, and her voice cracked with old pain. "They destroyed our fleet in 4 hours. They didn't destroy our world. They didn't have to. They simply left us with a message. You have 1 year to surrender all military technology. If you refuse, we will return. We surrendered in 3 days. We've been a peaceful species ever since. Not by choice at first. By terror." Krelthos was shaking now. Around the fleet, ships began to slow down. Doubt spread like fire. "But they're different now," Cerethia continued. "I've been listening to Admiral Chen. I've heard the sadness in her voice. They isolated themselves not because they were afraid of us. They were afraid of themselves. They were afraid of what war had made them become." On the research station, Chen listened to Cerethia's words. Something in her expression softened. "The Elder is right," Chen said, broadcasting to both Ven and the Council fleet. "We've had 847 years to think about what we did. To regret it. To understand that strength without mercy is just cruelty. We don't want to fight you. We don't want to hurt anyone. We just want to be left alone until we're sure we can rejoin the galaxy without being a threat." She stood up and her voice became stronger. "But make no mistake, if you force us to defend ourselves, we will. And all the healing, all the peace we've built will disappear. We'll remember only the anger. The war, the killing. Is that what you want? Is your pride worth restarting a conflict that almost destroyed the galaxy?" 2 hours from the boundary, Krelthos looked at his fleet. He looked at the simulation results. He looked at the historical recordings still playing on side screens. He saw the truth he had been denying. His people had voted against helping humanity. His government had profited from the sovereign trade. His species had been complicit in the genocide that started the war. Slowly, painfully, he pressed the communication button. "All ships," he said, his voice heavy with shame. "Reduce speed. Prepare to reverse course. Ambassador?" his second officer asked in surprise. "We were wrong," Krelthos said. "I was wrong. They're not hiding because they're weak. They're hiding because they're strong. Too strong. And they're trying to protect us from themselves." He looked at the screen showing Admiral Chen. "We're turning back. We apologize for the intrusion. We understand now." But not all ships listened. 3 vessels broke formation and accelerated. Young captains, full of pride and anger, decided to prove they weren't afraid. They crossed the boundary. Every alarm in human space screamed. "No," Chen whispered. "Don't do this. Please don't do this." Automated systems locked onto the 3 ships. Weapons charged. In 2 seconds, those ships would cease to exist. Chen's hand moved faster than thought. She entered override codes, shutting down the automated defenses manually, bypassing protocols that had been in place for 847 years. Taking personal control, "Stand down," she shouted to her crew. "Do not fire. I repeat, do not fire." The 3 council ships crossed deeper into human territory, unaware of how close they had come to death. "Admiral, regulations require," one of her officers began. "I know what regulations require," Chen snapped. "I wrote half of them, but I'm not going to kill 3 ships full of fools and restart a war. We are better than that. We have to be better than that." She took a deep breath and opened a channel to the 3 ships. "Council vessels, you have 5 minutes to turn around and exit human space. This is your only warning. We are choosing not to destroy you. We are choosing peace. Don't make us regret that choice." The 3 ships, suddenly realizing they were still alive when they should be dead, turned and fled. Krelthos watched them retreat back to the main fleet. He felt shame deeper than he had ever known. Chen contacted him directly. "Ambassador, new treaties must be established. We cannot have incidents like this again." "Agreed," Krelthos said quietly. "What do you propose?" "Human space remains forbidden," Chen said. "But we will establish a neutral station at the boundary. Diplomatic contact only, through AI intermediaries like Keeper. No physical visits, no trade. Just communication. A way for both sides to talk without risk." "For how long?" Chen looked tired. "So very tired. Until we're ready. Until we're sure we've healed. Until we know we can walk among you without being a threat. Maybe another 100 years. Maybe 1,000. I don't know." "And if someone violates the boundary again?" Krelthos asked. "Then we defend ourselves," Chen said simply. "But we'll always choose warnings over weapons when we can. We'll always try peace first, because that's who we want to be." The council fleet withdrew. The crisis ended. Human space went silent again, but this time with a communication station blinking at the boundary, a small light in the darkness, a promise of future dialogue. Ven and her crew were escorted back to council space in a human vessel. Before they left, Chen spoke to Ven privately. "Thank you," Chen said. "You reminded us why we chose isolation, why we chose peace. You gave us a chance to prove we're not monsters anymore. Will you ever come back?" Ven asked. "Will humans ever rejoin the galaxy?" Chen smiled sadly. "Maybe someday when we're ready. Tell your people we're still here. We're still watching. But we want to be better. We want to heal. Give us time. 50 years passed. The galaxy changed. Treaties were honored. The boundary was respected. The younger species learned the full truth of the human wars. Not just the myths. Fear remained, but it was mixed with understanding now, and respect." Then on a quiet morning, a message arrived at the council chambers. "This is Admiral Chen of Humanity. We request permission to send observers to your council meetings. Not as members. Not as participants. Just as observers. We want to learn how the galaxy has changed. We want to see if we're ready to take the next step." The council voted. This time, the result was unanimous. Yes. A single human ship arrived 3 months later. It docked at the council station. 5 humans emerged, blinking in the light, seeing alien faces for the first time in 897 years. They were welcomed with caution, with fear, but also with hope. Admiral Chen was not among them. She had finally chosen to sleep, to rest, to let younger humans take the next steps. But her final message played at the welcoming ceremony. "We are not the species we were. We are not the monsters you remember. We are trying. We are healing. We ask for your patience. We ask for your understanding. And we promise never again will we let anger define us. Never again will we choose destruction over dialogue. We are humanity. And we are finally ready to try again. The universe still trembled at the memory, but now, mixed with that fear, was something new. Hope. The meeting room of the Stellar Alliance headquarters was quiet, except for the soft hum of air filters. 27 different alien species had lived in peace for over 300 years. None of them came from harsh worlds. Their home planets were gentle places with mild weather, few natural disasters, and almost no dangerous animals. Ambassador Trell of the Luminary species led today's meeting. His skin glowed with a soft blue light as he spoke about trade routes and resource sharing. The other representatives listened politely. Some took notes. A few fought to stay awake during the boring discussion. No one expected what happened next. A harsh, loud noise cut through the calm of the meeting room. Every screen on the walls flashed red. The emergency alert system had activated for the first time in 50 years. "What is happening?" Trell asked, his blue glow turning purple with alarm. Officer Lumi rushed to the main control panel. Her 6 fingers flew across the screen as she tried to find the source of the alert. "It's a distress call," she said, her voice shaking. "Coming from the Florian research station in the outer systems." The message played on all screens. "Under attack. Heavy casualties. Need immediate assistance. Coordinates attached." The room erupted in panic. The Florians were among the gentlest species in the Alliance. They looked like walking plants with delicate green skin and leaf-like hair. They avoided conflict at all costs. Who would attack them? "We must send help right away," said Representative Mako. He was from the Aquarian waterworlds. His fish-like face showed genuine concern for the Florians. Admiral Orb moved to the front of the room. The old military leader's scales had faded from bright red to dull orange over his long career. He raised a clawed hand for silence. "This could be a trap," he warned. "If attackers are still there, our rescue ships would be in danger. None of our vessels are built for combat. The Alliance had no true warships. They had not fought a war in over 200 years. Their ships carried minimal weapons, just enough to deflect space debris or scare away the rare space pirate." "The Florians are studying a new energy source," said Trell. "Perhaps someone wanted to steal it." Officer Lumi gasped suddenly. All eyes turned to her. "Another ship has changed course to respond to the distress call," she said. Her voice had dropped to a whisper. "It's coming from the restricted zone." The room fell silent. Everyone knew what lived in the restricted zone. Humans. The Alliance had discovered Earth 50 years ago. They studied the planet from a safe distance and were horrified by what they found. Earth was classified as a Category 5 death world. Its gravity was too strong. Its weather was violent and unpredictable. Dangerous animals roamed freely. And the dominant species, humans, had survived it all. Humans were nightmares made real to the Alliance species. They had dense muscles and strong bones. They could survive injuries that would kill most Alliance members. Their immune systems attacked unknown substances with shocking aggression. They could eat foods that would poison other species. They even enjoyed bitter and spicy tastes that would cause most aliens severe pain. Worst of all, humans had a long history of warfare. They fought each other constantly throughout their history. They developed weapons specifically to kill each other. While the Alliance was building its peaceful union, humans were perfecting ways to destroy themselves. The Alliance Council decided that humans were too dangerous to contact. They placed Earth under quarantine. No Alliance ship was allowed near the solar system. No communication was permitted. It was safer to leave the Death Worlders alone on their violent planet. But now, a human ship was heading toward the Florian outpost. "How did they get a ship that far from Earth?" asked Representative Mako. "The quarantine boys should have stopped them." "We underestimated them," said Admiral Orb. His voice was grim. "They must have built better ships than we thought possible." "Officer," Lumi pulled up the ship's information on the main screen. "It's called the UES Defender," she said. UES stands for United Earth Ship. It's moving at... That can't be right. What is it? Demanded Trell. It's moving faster than our fastest ships, she said. It will reach the Florian outpost in hours, not days. The council members looked at each other in shock. Alliance technology was supposed to be far superior to human technology. How had the humans built such a fast ship without anyone noticing? We must warn the Florians, said Trell. The humans could be worse than whoever attacked them. It's too late, said Officer Lumi. All communication with the outpost is down, and the human ship will arrive long before any of our vessels could get there. Admiral Orb paced the room, his claws clicking on the floor. We know almost nothing about human behavior in space. We don't know their intentions. Their ship is called Defender, pointed out Representative Mako. That suggests they want to help, not harm. Or it's a trick, said another council member. A predator in disguise. Trell made a decision. We will send our fastest ship to the Florian outpost. We need to know what happens when the humans arrive. The nearest Alliance vessel was the Observer, a science ship studying a nearby gas giant. It wasn't designed for rescue or combat, but it had good sensors and a skilled crew. Captain Plex, an experienced luminary like Trell, received the emergency orders with surprise. Humans? He asked during the secure transmission. Are you certain? Yes, said Trell. Do not engage them. Just watch and report. We need to know what they do. The Observer changed course immediately. It would take 2 days to reach the Florian outpost. By then, the humans would have been there for over a day. Back at Alliance headquarters, the Council set up an emergency command center. They gathered all available information about humans. It wasn't much. Most of their data came from intercepted broadcasts and long-distance observation. Humans evolved as pursuit predators, explained a xenobiologist named Dr. Finn. Her presentation showed images of early humans chasing animals across open plains. They can keep running for hours. They don't give up. They live in groups and protect each other fiercely, added a cultural expert. They form strong bonds even with strangers. And they're curious, said a behavior specialist. They explore constantly, even when it's dangerous. Admiral Orb looked troubled. So they're pack hunters with too much endurance and no fear. And now they have a fast ship with unknown capabilities. Officer Lumi's console beeped. The human ship has increased speed again. They must be pushing their engines beyond safety limits. Why? Asked Trell. Why risk their ship for aliens they've never met? No one had an answer. For the next few hours, the Council could only wait and watch as the UES Defender raced toward the Florian outpost. The humans were coming, and no one knew what would happen when they arrived. The Florians are peaceful researchers, said Representative Mako softly. They wouldn't harm anyone. It's not the Florians I'm worried about, replied Admiral Orb. It's what the humans might do when they find the outpost damaged and the Florians hurt or dead. What will Deathworlders do when they witness the aftermath? Of violence? Trell's glow dimmed with worry. We're about to find out. The UES Defender dropped out of faster-than-light travel near the Florian research outpost. The human ship was not large, but its design was unlike any Alliance vessel. It had a sleek, predatory look with armor plating and visible weapon ports. This was a ship built for danger. On the bridge, Captain Jack stood from his command chair and studied the view screen. The Florian outpost floated ahead, a once beautiful structure now broken and dark. Parts of it were torn open to space. Debris floated around it like a cloud of metal tears. Life signs? Jack asked. His voice was calm, but his eyes were sharp. Navigator Ben checked his scanner and nodded. Yes, Captain. Faint readings. I count 12 survivors. There should be 48 staff according to the station plans. The humans had intercepted enough Alliance communications over the years to learn about the different species. They knew the Florians were plant-like beings who studied energy sources and avoided conflict. What happened here? Asked Medical Officer Rose. She had already gathered her emergency kit, ready to help the survivors. Security Chief Alex studied the damage patterns on the screen. His trained eye saw what others might miss. This wasn't random. Look at the impact. Points. Communications first, then defense systems, then life support. The attackers knew exactly what they were doing. Pirates, said Jack. He had seen this before. They hit fast, disable the target, and take what they want. Engineer Max checked the radiation readings and frowned. Captain, the station is leaking. Radiation from their research labs. It's hitting dangerous levels in some sections. How dangerous? Asked Jack. For Florians? Lethal within minutes, said Max. For us, uncomfortable but manageable for a few hours. The humans looked at each other. They knew they were different from the Alliance species. Earth's higher radiation levels, stronger gravity, and harsher conditions had made humans tougher. What would kill a Florian would merely hurt a human. Prep the shuttle, ordered Jack. Full rescue team. Basic radiation gear only. We need to move fast. As the crew prepared for the rescue mission, Jack sent a message to Earth Command. Found damaged Alliance station. Survivors present. Proceeding with rescue. Will update. He knew this would change everything. Humans had respected the Alliance's quarantine for years, watching and learning from a distance. But they couldn't ignore a distress call. It wasn't in their nature to let others suffer when they could help. The rescue shuttle launched from the Defender. Inside were Jack, Alex, Rose, and 4 security team members. They wore light radiation suits that would have been useless to Alliance species, but provided enough protection for humans. The shuttle docked with the damaged station. Their airlock was broken, so they had to cut their way in. Atmosphere is thin but breathable, reported Alex after scanning the air. Temperature is dropping. Power systems are failing. Spread out in pairs, ordered Jack. Find survivors. Be careful. The attackers might still be here. The humans moved through the damaged station with practiced efficiency. Years of training for space emergencies had prepared them for this moment. They stepped over broken equipment and floated through sections exposed to space with ease that would have amazed Alliance observers. Rose found the first survivor, a Florian engineer trapped under fallen equipment. The alien's green skin had paled and the leaf-like hair was wilting. I've got one, Rose called over the comm. Alive but injured. The Florian's eyes widened in fear when it saw Rose. The alien had never seen a human before, but it recognized the species from Alliance warning files. A death worlder was standing over it, a creature evolved from predators. It's okay, said Rose gently, using the Alliance common language she had learned from intercepted communications. I'm here to help, I'm a doctor. The Florian was too weak to resist as Rose carefully lifted the debris and administered emergency medical care. The alien was surprised by the human's gentle touch despite her obvious strength. In another section, Jack found what appeared to be the station's control room. Most of the equipment was destroyed, but one Florian was still alive. By the special markings on its clothing, Jack guessed this was the station's leader. Help has arrived, Jack said, kneeling beside the injured alien. We'll get you to safety. The Florian leader, Director Root, stared at Jack with a mixture of fear and wonder. You're human, Root whispered. Its voice was weak but clear. Yes, said Jack. We received your distress call. Why did you come? Asked Root. The Alliance forbids contact with Earth. Someone needed help, said Jack simply, as if that explained everything. As Jack helped Root to a safer area, the Florian leader struggled to speak again. The collectors, Root said. They took our research, and my people. Collectors? Asked Jack. Is that what you call the attackers? It's what they call themselves, said Root. They collect rare things, technology, resources, and specimens. Jack's expression darkened. They took your people as specimens? Root nodded weakly. The energy source we discovered, they wanted it. But they also took 20 of my researchers. Live captures. Meanwhile, the rescue team had found more survivors. Some were trapped in sealed emergency chambers. Others had hidden in maintenance tunnels. All were injured and frightened, especially when they saw their rescuers were humans. The radiation levels are rising, warned Alex over the comm. We need to move these people soon or they won't make it. Bring them to the shuttle, ordered Jack. Rose, what's their medical status? Not good, replied Rose. Their bodies are more fragile than ours. The radiation is affecting them badly. They need specialized care. The Defender has a medical bay, said Jack. We've studied Alliance physiology. We can help them until their own people arrive. By the time all 12 survivors were loaded onto the shuttle, the humans were feeling the effects of the radiation themselves. Their skin was reddened, and they felt nauseous. But they kept working, carrying Florians who couldn't walk, and securing them safely for transport. Back on the Defender, Rose and her medical team worked to stabilize the Florians. The aliens were surprised by the human medical bay. It was designed to handle traumatic injuries and harsh conditions that Alliance medics rarely encountered. Jack called a meeting with his senior officers and Director Root, who was the least injured of the Florians. The Alliance will send help. Eventually, said Jack. But we need to know more about these collectors. They didn't just steal technology. They took your people. Root nodded sadly. They have attacked other outposts before. They take what they want and disappear. The Alliance has never been able to track them. We found this, said Alex, placing a small device on the table. It's part of their communication system. It's still transmitting a signal. Can we track it? Asked Jack. Max nodded. Already working on it, Captain. I think I can trace their course. Why would you help us? Asked Root. The Alliance has kept your people isolated, treated you as dangerous. Jack looked at the alien leader. My great-grandmother used to say that when someone's house is burning, you don't ask if they like you before you help put out the fire. Rose entered the meeting room with a medical update. The Florians are stable, but 4 are in critical condition. They need specialized care soon. And the others who were taken, asked Jack. How long can they survive as captives? Root's leaf-like hair drooped. Not long. Our bodies are not made for stress or harsh conditions. The collectors do not treat specimens gently. Jack made his decision. We're going after them. We'll rescue your people and recover your research. The Florians looked at Jack in shock. These humans, creatures the Alliance feared as violent and unpredictable, were volunteering to risk their lives for aliens they had just met. Alliance protocol requires me to contact headquarters before proceeding, said Root. The nearest Alliance ship is still a day away, said Ben. The trail will be cold by then. Jack stood up. We respect Alliance rules, Director Root. But right. Now your people's lives are in danger. We can help. Will you let us? Root looked at the determined faces of the human crew. Perhaps the Alliance had been wrong about Deathworlders. Perhaps there was more to humans than their physical strength and violent history. Yes, said Root finally. Please save my people. The UES Defender followed the signal from the collector's ship through space. Captain Jack stood on the bridge watching as Navigator Ben plotted their course. They're heading into the Razor Belt, said Ben with surprise. The Razor Belt was a massive asteroid field. Thousands of jagged rocks tumbled through space, smashing into each other and creating even more dangerous debris. Alliance ships avoided this area completely. Their navigation systems couldn't handle the constantly changing paths of the asteroids. Can we follow them? Asked Jack. Engineer Max nodded confidently. Earth ships are built for worse conditions. Our navigation system updates 10 times faster than Alliance tech. He grinned. We trained in Saturn's rings, remember? This is just a bit more crowded. Director Root had insisted on joining the pursuit despite still recovering from injuries. The Florian leader watched the humans with growing amazement. None of them seemed worried about flying into what Alliance pilots called certain death. No Alliance vessel would attempt this, Root said quietly. The risk is too great. For us, it's Tuesday, joked Security Chief Alex. When Root looked confused, Alex added, It means this is normal for us. Earth has many dangers. We adapt. The Defender slipped into the asteroid field with careful precision. Ben's hands moved quickly over the navigation controls, adjusting their course with each new scan. Occasionally, a smaller rock would hit the ship's hull with a dull thud, but the armor held. How are you so calm? Root asked Rose as another asteroid passed by, missing them by meters. Rose smiled gently. On Earth we have hurricanes, earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanic eruptions. Space rocks are just one more thing to deal with. For 3 days they tracked the collectors through the razor belt. The human crew worked in shifts, always alert, always ready. They ate strange food that Root couldn't identify and drank a bitter black liquid they called coffee that seemed to keep them awake for hours. On the 3rd day, Ben called out from his station. "Captain, I found something." Everyone gathered around his screen. Hidden among the largest asteroids was a structure too regular to be natural. "It's a base," said Jack. "They've hollowed out an asteroid and built inside it." Alex studied the scans. "No wonder the Alliance couldn't find them. It's completely hidden unless you're right on top of it." "I'm detecting multiple ships docked inside," added Ben, including the one that attacked the Florian outpost. "Can you scan for life signs?" asked Root anxiously. "Are my people still alive?" Ben adjusted the sensors. "I'm picking up many different life forms. It's hard to separate them at this distance, but there are definitely Florians in there and others too." "Others?" asked Jack. "Different species," confirmed Ben. I think this is more than just a pirate base. It's some kind of collection facility." The implications sank in. The collectors weren't just pirates stealing technology. They were taking people from across the galaxy. Jack called his senior officers to the conference room to plan their approach. Director Root joined them, still struggling with the concept of humans voluntarily heading into danger. "We need to do this quietly," said Jack. "Get in, locate the captives and the stolen research. Get out. Their security will be tight," warned Alex. "I recommend a small team. Just enough of us to handle threats, but not so many that we can't move quickly." "We'll need a distraction," suggested Max. "Something to draw their attention while the rescue team gets inside." Rose looked concerned. "The captive Florians may be in bad shape. We should be prepared for medical emergencies." Jack nodded. "Okay. Alex, Rose, Max, you're with me on the boarding team. Ben will stay here and fly the ship. We'll use shuttle. 2, it's smaller and has stealth capabilities." "I want to come too," said Root. "Those are my people." Jack looked at the Florian leader. Root was still weak from injuries and Florians weren't built for combat. But Jack understood the need to help one's own people. "You can come, but you stay with Rose at all times," he said firmly. "Your knowledge of Florian physiology will help." Rose care for the rescued captives. As they prepared for the mission, Jack briefed the team on the plan. Max would create a distraction by launching small probes that would interfere with the base's external sensors. Meanwhile, the rescue team would dock at a maintenance airlock on the asteroid's dark side. "We go in quiet. We find the captives. We get out," Jack repeated. "No unnecessary risks." The team suited up in light combat gear. The humans checked their equipment with practiced movements, while Root awkwardly adjusted a protective vest Rose had modified to fit Florian anatomy. "Your people really do prepare for everything," Root commented, watching Alex check his weapons. "On Earth, the unexpected is what we expect," replied Alex. "Not being ready means not surviving." The small shuttle detached from the Defender and moved silently toward the asteroid base. Max launched the distraction probes, which immediately began broadcasting conflicting signals. Alarms would be going off inside the base, but in all the wrong areas. They reached the maintenance airlock without being detected. Max used portable equipment to bypass the lock controls, and the door slid open. "We're in," whispered Jack. "Stay close. Rose and Root in the middle. Alex and I will take point. Max, watch our backs." The inside of the asteroid was surprisingly large. The collectors had carved out extensive tunnels and chambers throughout the rock. The lighting was dim, with an eerie blue glow that made shadows stretch like grasping hands. Alex pointed to markings on the wall. A basic map of the facility. "There," he whispered. "Holding area, 2 levels down." They moved through the facility, carefully. Twice they had to hide as collector guards passed by. The aliens were tall, with 4 arms and dark gray skin. They wore light armor and carried energy weapons. "I've never seen this species before," whispered Root. "They're not part Of the Alliance. Probably from beyond Alliance space, suggested Rose. There's a whole galaxy out there we know nothing about. When they reached the holding area, they found it divided into sections. Each section contained different species, held behind energy barriers. The captives looked weak and frightened. There are my people. Root pointed to a section where several Florians huddled together. Their green skin had turned pale, and their leaf-like hair was wilting badly. And there's more, said Jack grimly, looking at the other cells. Aquarians, Luminari, all Alliance species. This isn't just a pirate operation, said Max. It's a full-scale abduction program. Rose checked her scanner. The captives are in poor condition, dehydrated, malnourished. The Florians are the worst. They need light and water urgently. We need to shut down the energy barriers, said Jack. Max? Max examined the control panel. I can do it, but it will trigger alarms. We'll deal with that when it happens. Do it. Max bypassed the security and shut down the barriers. Immediately, alarms began to wail throughout the facility. We've got company coming, warned Alex, as his scanner picked up multiple signals converging on their position. Rose and Root hurried to the Florian captives. We're here to rescue you, Root explained quickly. These humans are helping us. The captive Florians were too weak to move quickly. Jack and his team would have to carry them. Max, find the research data, ordered Jack as he lifted 2 Florians. We need that too. Max accessed a nearby terminal. Got it, Captain. They've been analyzing the energy source. It's incredible. This could revolutionize space travel. Download everything and let's go, said Jack. Just as they were organizing the captives for evacuation, the first collector guards appeared. Alex fired a warning shot that forced them to take cover. We need a new exit route, said Jack. Our entry point is blocked. Max checked his scanner. There's a docking bay 1 level up. If we can get there, we might be able to steal a ship. Or call the Defender for pickup, added Jack. Ben can bring her close enough. As they moved toward the docking bay, more guards attacked. Alex and Jack protected the group while Rose and Root helped the weakened captives. Max worked frantically to open doors and seal them behind the group. They reached a large open chamber just before the docking bay. It was some kind of processing center with examination tables and strange equipment, and it was full of collector workers. Stop right there, ordered one who appeared to be the leader. Those specimens belong to us. Jack stepped forward. They're not specimens. They're people. And they're coming with us. The collector leader seemed amused. You're human, it observed. We've wanted to add your species to our collection. Deathworlders are rare and valuable. Sorry to disappoint. You, said Jack. But humans don't collect well. As the collectors moved to surround them, a sudden explosion rocked the facility. The lights flickered, and emergency sirens joined the alarms. What was that? Demanded the collector leader. Jack smiled. That would be our ship. I think you'll find your defense systems are failing. Ben's voice came through their comm units. Defender to rescue team. I've disabled their main power core. Docking bay shields are down. I'm coming in to get you. The collector leader snarled and raised its weapon. You'll never leave this facility. You'll never leave this facility. The collector leader raised its weapon at Captain Jack. Before the alien could fire, Alex moved with surprising speed. He tackled Jack out of the way as energy blasts hit the wall behind them. The other collectors began shooting too. Everyone take cover, shouted Jack, pulling 2 weakened Florians behind a large metal container. The rescue team and freed captives scattered, hiding behind equipment as the collectors continued firing. Rose and Root helped the injured aliens while Max worked frantically on a nearby control panel. Max, what are you doing? Jack called over the noise of weapon fire. Trying to shut down their weapons, Max replied, his fingers flying over the alien technology. Their systems are strange, but I think I can... Suddenly, the lights in the facility flickered. The collector's weapons powered down with a dying whine. Got it? Max grinned. Rerouted power from their weapons to life support. They can fix it, but it'll take time. Alex didn't wait. He charged forward, knocking aside 2 surprised collectors. Jack followed, clearing a path toward the docking bay doors. "Move now," Jack ordered. "Everyone to the docking bay." The group rushed forward, the humans carrying Florians too weak to run. The collectors tried to stop them with physical force, but the humans were stronger. Even Rose, the medical officer, easily pushed aside a collector who tried to grab her. They reached the docking bay just as the massive doors opened. The UES Defender hovered outside, its entry ramp extended like a welcoming hand. "Go, go, go," Jack urged, helping the freed captives aboard. The collector leader appeared at the bay entrance, holding an emergency weapon that still worked. "You're stealing our property," it shouted. Root turned to face the alien. Though still weak, the Florian stood as tall as possible. "People are not property," Root said firmly. "The Alliance will know what you've done here." The collector laughed, a harsh sound like grinding metal. "The Alliance, they're too weak to stop us. They don't even know we exist." "But we do," said Jack, stepping beside Root. "And now we're going to tell them everything." The collector aimed its weapon at Jack, but before it could fire, the Defender's defensive systems activated. A precise energy pulse hit the weapon, melting. The collector dropped the hot metal with a cry of pain. "Time to go," said Jack, guiding Root up the ramp. Once everyone was aboard, the Defender pulled away from the asteroid base. Max had downloaded all the data about the Florian energy research and the collector's operation. More importantly, all 20 missing Florians and 35 other Alliance species had been rescued. Rose immediately set up a treatment area in the ship's cargo bay. She and Root worked together to care for the weakened aliens. "They'll recover," Rose told Jack after her initial assessments. "The Florians need special light and nutrients, but we can create what they need." "Good," said Jack. "What about the base? Did we get everything we needed?" Max nodded excitedly. "More than we expected, Captain. I downloaded their entire database. The collectors aren't just random pirates, they're an organized operation. They've been studying Alliance species for years. And that's not all," added Ben from his navigation station. "According to their flight plans, they have a mothership. It's huge, Captain, and it's heading toward Alliance headquarters." This news silenced the bridge. Even the rescued aliens looked up in alarm. "Are they planning an attack?" asked Jack. "It looks that way," confirmed Max, examining the data. "They've been gathering information about Alliance defense systems, identifying weaknesses. Their mothership carries enough firepower to overwhelm the entire Alliance security fleet." Director Root looked horrified. "We must warn the Alliance immediately." Jack nodded. "Set course for Alliance headquarters, maximum speed. We need to get there before the collectors." As the Defender accelerated to faster-than-light travel, Jack called a meeting with his officers and Director Root. They needed to plan their approach carefully. Humans had never officially contacted the Alliance before. "They might not believe us," warned Alex, "or they might see us as the greater threat." "We have evidence," said Max, pointing to the data they'd recovered. "And we have rescued Alliance citizens who can speak for us." Root agreed. "I will tell them how you saved us, but the Council will be afraid when they see humans for the first time." "Can't be helped," said Jack. "The warning is too important to delay." The Defender reached Alliance space 3 days later. As they approached the headquarters, a beautiful, ring-shaped station orbiting a neutral star, they began broadcasting on all Alliance frequencies. "This is Captain Jack of the United Earth Ship Defender. We are carrying rescued Alliance citizens and critical information about an imminent attack. Request permission to approach." The response was immediate and anxious. "UES Defender, you are in restricted space. Identify the Alliance citizens aboard." Director Root took over communications. "This is Director Root of the Florian Science Division. The humans rescued me and many others from captivity. They have vital information about an enemy called the Collectors who plan to attack headquarters. You must listen to them." There was a long pause before the reply came. "Maintain position. A security vessel will escort you to a safe docking area." As they waited, the humans prepared for their first official meeting with the Alliance Council. They wore their formal uniforms and tried to look as non-threatening as possible. "Remember," Jack told his crew, "they've been taught to fear us. Move slowly, speak calmly, and give them space. When they finally docked and the airlocks opened, they were met by a group of heavily armed security officers from multiple species. Admiral Orb himself led them, his orange scales now pale with stress. "Director Root," he said, ignoring the humans completely. "Are you and the other rescued citizens well?" "Yes, Admiral," Root replied. "Thanks entirely to these humans who risked their lives to save us." Admiral Orb finally looked at Jack and his crew. The humans were taller and more solidly built than most Alliance species. Their confident posture and alert eyes marked them as predators by evolution. But they stood perfectly still, allowing the Alliance security team to scan them for weapons. "Captain Jack," Orb said formally, "your presence here violates multiple Alliance protocols." "We're aware, Admiral," Jack replied calmly, "but the situation is urgent." "You claim the collectors are planning to attack our headquarters," said Orb skeptically. "How convenient that only humans know of this threat." Max stepped forward, holding a data device. "We have their attack plans, fleet positions, and weapons specifications, all taken directly from their base." Before Orb could respond, alarms began sounding throughout the station. A communications officer rushed up to the Admiral. "Sir, long-range sensors have detected a large vessel entering the system. It matches no known Alliance design." Jack gave Orb a grim look. "That would be the Collector mothership. It's arrived earlier than we expected." The Admiral's skepticism vanished instantly. "How many ships do you have following you, Captain?" "Just the Defender," replied Jack. "Earth sent us to explore, not to start a war." "One ship?" Orb's scales flushed with alarm. "You came to face the Collectors with one ship?" "It's a good ship," said Jack simply. The Alliance Council convened an emergency session. The chamber was large and elegant, with representatives from all 27 species seated in rising tiers. They watched with a mixture of fear and curiosity. As the humans entered, Ambassador Trell of the Luminari led the session. His blue glow pulsed with anxiety as Jack approached the central platform. "Captain Jack of Earth," Trell began formally, "you stand before the Alliance Council in direct violation of the Earth Containment Protocol. However, given the current situation, we will hear your warning." Jack uploaded the data they had gathered to the main display. Images of the Collector mothership appeared, along with detailed analysis of its capabilities. "The Collectors have been operating beyond Alliance space for years," Jack explained. "They see other species as specimens to be collected and studied. The recent attack on the Florian Research Station was part of their larger plan to test Alliance response times and defense capabilities." Max added technical details about the Collectors' weapons and shields, while Rose reported on their treatment of captives. The Council listened with growing alarm. "Why would you risk yourselves to bring us this warning?" asked Representative Mako. "The Alliance has not been welcoming to humans." Jack's answer was simple. "Because it was the right thing to do." Before Trell could respond, the chamber's emergency system activated. Admiral Orb's voice came through the speakers. "The Collector vessel has entered orbit. They're launching smaller ships toward the station." Ambassador Trell looked at Jack with new understanding. "We have no combat vessels here. Our fleet is spread across 3 sectors." "The Defender is ready," said Jack. "Let us help you." The council chamber erupted in debate. Allow Deathworlders to fight on their behalf? Trust creatures whose evolutionary path was shaped by violence? As they argued, the first impact shook the station. The Collectors had begun their attack. The Alliance headquarters shook as another blast hit. The beautiful ring-shaped station had never been designed for battle. Its shields were failing fast. In the council chamber, Ambassador Trell made a quick decision. "Captain Jack, we accept your help. Please do what you can." Jack nodded firmly. "We'll buy you time to evacuate civilians." He turned to his crew. Back to the Defender, maximum speed. As the humans ran toward their ship, Admiral Orb followed. "What can one vessel possibly do against the Collector mothership?" he asked. "It's 10 times your size." "Size isn't everything, Admiral," replied Jack. "Humans know a few things about fighting against bigger enemies. The UES Defender detached from the station and moved to engage the Collector fleet. The human ship was smaller than the Collector mothership, but it moved with incredible speed and precision. "Target their fighter craft first," ordered Jack from the captain's chair. "We need to stop them from boarding the station." Ben's hands flew across the navigation controls, maneuvering the Defender through enemy fire. Alex managed weapons, targeting the smaller Collector ships with deadly accuracy. From the Alliance station, the Council members watched in amazement. They had never seen combat tactics like this. The human ship didn't run or hide. It attacked directly, drawing enemy fire away. From the station, "They're protecting us," whispered Representative Mako in awe. "They're making themselves the target." On the Defender, the situation was tense but controlled. The humans worked with practiced efficiency, calling out reports and adjustments without panic. "Shields at 70%, reported Max from engineering. "I'm rerouting power to strengthen them." "2 enemy fighters down," called Alex, "but more are launching from the mothership." Jack studied the tactical display. "Their mothership is staying back, letting the fighters do the work. That means something important is on board. Something they don't want to risk. Or someone," suggested Rose. The Collector leader called the captives specimens. "What if they have more?" Jack made a quick decision. "New plan. We need to get aboard that mothership." "How?" asked Ben. "Their shields are too strong for our transporters. We make them let us in," said Jack with a grim smile. "Max, can you create a feedback loop in our shield generators? Make it look like we're about to have a catastrophic overload." Max understood immediately. "You want them to think we're going to explode? That our shields are failing and our reactor is going critical?" "Exactly. They want specimens, right? They'll try to capture us before we blow up." The plan was risky, but they had no better options. Max created the false readings while Ben positioned the Defender for a direct approach to the mothership, as if they were making a desperate attack run. Inside the Collector mothership, the commander watched the human ship with growing interest. Their sensors showed the Defender's shields failing and energy readings becoming unstable. "The human vessel is damaged," reported a Collector officer. "They appear to be losing containment on their power core." "Capture that ship," ordered the commander. "Deathworlders are the rarest specimens in our collection. We must have them before their vessel destroys itself." The mothership extended its tractor beam, pulling the Defender toward a docking bay. Just as Jack had predicted, the Collectors wanted to salvage the humans before the ship exploded. "It's working," said Ben. "They're bringing us in." Jack turned to his team. "Alex, Rose, you're with me. We'll board the mothership and find their control center. Max and Ben, stay with the ship. Be ready for a quick exit." Before leaving, Jack contacted the Alliance station. "We're boarding the Collector mothership. Continue evacuating civilians and prepare your defense teams. We'll try to disable them from inside." Admiral Orb was stunned. "You're deliberately entering the enemy vessel? That's suicide." "That's strategy, Admiral," replied Jack. "Sometimes, you have to take the fight to the enemy." As the Defender was pulled into the mothership's docking bay, Jack's team prepared for boarding. They wore light armor and carried both weapons and technical equipment. "Remember," said Jack, "our primary goal is to disable their weapons and shields. Secondary goal is to free any captives. We move fast and stay together." The moment the Defender was secured in the docking bay, armed Collectors surrounded it. They expected to find a damaged ship with a helpless crew. Instead, the airlock burst open and the humans came out fighting. Alex led the charge, moving faster than the Collectors expected. Their weapons were designed to capture, not kill, which gave the humans an advantage. The stunning beams that would incapacitate most species only slowed the humans down. "They're resistant," shouted a surprised Collector guard. "Increase power levels," but it was too late. The humans had broken through their line and disappeared into the ship's corridors. Meanwhile, on the Alliance station, Admiral Orb organized the defense teams. He had watched how the human ship fought and tried to apply those tactics to the station's limited defenses. "Concentrate fire on one fighter at a time," he ordered. "Don't spread out your attacks." Director Root had joined the station's medical team, helping treat the injured. When a section of the station was hit and began losing air pressure, Root saw several Alliance security officers hesitate. The decompression would kill them if they entered. Thinking of the humans who had rescued him, Root stepped forward. "Sometimes we must risk ourselves to save others," he said, using emergency breathing equipment to enter the damaged section. Other officers, inspired by his courage, followed. Back on the Collector mothership, Jack's team fought their way toward the main control center. They encountered more resistance as they got closer. "We must be on the right track," said Alex as they took cover from enemy fire. Rose pointed to a side corridor. "Jack, I'm detecting different life signs down there. Lots of them." "More captives," Jack realized. "Rose, can you free them? Alex and I will continue to the control center." Rose nodded and broke away, heading toward the captives. She found a large chamber filled with containment pods, each holding a different alien species. Working quickly, she began shutting down the stasis fields. Jack and Alex reached the control center after a fierce fight. The Collector commander faced them with anger. "You will be the centerpiece of our collection, humans," it threatened. "Sorry to disappoint you," said Jack, "but we're not here to be collected." With Alex providing cover fire, Jack accessed the main control system. His time studying Alliance technology helped him understand the Collector systems, which use similar principles. "Weapons offline," he announced as he overrode their security. "Shields disabled, and sending all their research data to the Alliance." The commander lunged at him, but Alex intercepted, showing the superior strength that came from evolving on a high-gravity world. Across the mothership, Rose had freed dozens of captives. Some had been prisoners for years. They were weak but determined to escape. "Follow me," she told them. "We have a ship." Jack contacted Max. "Start the engines. We're coming back with guests." "Already ready, Captain," replied Max. "The Collectors didn't even understand half our systems. They never disabled the Defender." As alarms blared throughout the mothership, Jack's team and the freed captives fought their way back to the docking bay. The Collector guards were in disarray, without direction from their command center. On the Alliance station, Admiral Orb was shocked to see the Collector fighters suddenly lose power. The mothership's shields flickered and failed. "Their weapons are offline," he exclaimed. "The humans did it." The Alliance defense team seized the opportunity, capturing the disabled Collector ships. Without the mothership's control, the Collector forces couldn't coordinate their attacks. The Defender blasted free from the mothership's docking bay, carrying Jack's team and all the freed captives. As they pulled away, Jack sent one final message to the Collector commander. "The Alliance isn't alone anymore. Remember that before you try collecting anyone else." The mothership, without weapons or shields, retreated from Alliance space. The attack was over. When the Defender returned to the station, the humans were not met with fear, but with cheers. Alliance citizens lined the docking area, wanting to see the Death Worlders who had saved them. Ambassador Trell welcomed Jack with a formal bow. "Captain, the Alliance owes you and your crew a debt we can never repay." "No debt," said Jack simply. "That's not why we helped." Admiral Orb approached Jack with newfound respect. "I was wrong about humans," he admitted. "I thought your evolution on a dangerous world made you a threat. I didn't realize it also made you protectors." The Alliance Council convened a special session. With the Collector threat exposed and defeated, they had important decisions to make. "I propose we formally end the Earth Containment Protocol," announced Admiral Orb, "and extend an invitation to humanity to join the Alliance as full members." The vote was unanimous. For the first time, humans would be welcomed among the stars not as dangerous outsiders, but as valued allies. As Jack accepted the Alliance emblem from Ambassador Trell, he smiled at his crew. They had changed everything today. Humans were no longer feared but respected. Their strength, once seen as threatening, was now recognized as a shield for those who needed protection. "This is just the beginning," Jack told the assembly. "Humanity has much to offer the Alliance, and we're looking forward to a future among the stars, together."